The libertarians believe in limited government. That doesn't mean no government. We want the state to protect us from people who want to kill us. That's a role for government. The Constitution talks about an army and navy, and thank goodness they were there to defeat the Nazis. After 9/11, they retaliated against the Taliban. But today, America has troops in lots of places. More than 70,000 soldiers in Europe, 54,000 in Germany. Why? Berlin Wall fell 20 years ago. We have troops in Turkey, Belgium, Portugal, the Netherlands, Greenland, and elsewhere. Why? The presence of our troops makes some people hate us. A survey in Korea found that most Koreans want U.S. troops to leave. Doesn't sound like we're winning hearts and minds. We stay, though, because the Korean government asks us to, and a U.S. Army report concluded complete withdrawal is not feasible nor in our nation's best interest. So, David Boaz, not in our best interest? Don't we need to be there because North Korea might invade South Korea?
Well, there's two questions there. The first one is South Korea has a GDP, gross national product, about 20 times what North Korea does. I think they could defend themselves. But it's just like welfare. If you're told the United States will take care of it, why would you feel you needed to raise an army? So they could defend themselves. I don't think they need to be defended. But the second question is, why is it the responsibility of my family in Kentucky or other people all over this country to defend South Korea from North Korea? I mean, I don't want North Korea to take over South Korea, but I don't want a lot of things to happen. And I don't think it's the responsibility of our government and our taxpayers and our citizens and our young men and women to go and defend every country around the world. South Korea, Taiwan, Kuwait. There are places all over the world that we could get involved in, and many of them we have. It's not in our interest.
Likewise, you don't think we should have gone into Iraq, do you?
I don't think we should have invaded Iraq. There was, the libertarian view is there's absolutely a case for national defense, where the emphasis is on defense. If we are under attack, if it's clear that the interests of the U.S. citizens are at risk, when Japanese attacked us in Pearl Harbor in 1941, then absolutely, libertarians would defend the use of extreme force of a military to defend ourselves. Iraq was not such a case.
Wendy?
I don't agree that if interests are attacked, that you basically are justified in using force. Force is justified only in response to a direct attack upon you, and then only toward the person who is attacking you. If you look at that, if you apply that, if you math to that, that's what's right for an individual to do, and apply math to, is it right for 10,000 people or 1 million people to do in terms of a nation? I don't see how the principle of right and wrong changes. I don't see, even giving the very generous assumption that Saddam Hussein was behind 9/11 and somehow you were defending yourself. I don't believe that, but granting that, how is it the case that you are now defending American lives by occupying a country of poor people who have done you no wrong? Declare victory, get out.
DeRoy, libertarians are not unanimous on this. You say we should be in Iraq.
I think we should be in Iraq. I'm glad we went into Iraq. Saddam Hussein was a very, very generous and active and stalwart supporter of international terrorists, including people like Abu Nidal, who blew up a plane over the Ionian Sea with a lot of Americans on it. Abu Abbas, who did the Achille Lauro hijacking, which killed Leon Klinghoffer, used to live down in the East Village, where I do. He was murdered. And Saddam Hussein provided funding, training, all sorts of other support and services for these people. I think it was completely appropriate for us, as part of the war on terror, to knock him out. And I'm glad that that country is now one where people just not long ago voted in a democratic government. And I think what the entire Middle East needs is an example of a country where people can vote in their leaders, have a government which is not a dictatorship as Saddam Hussein's was, and I hope be a role model for the rest of that region. And maybe if that happens, we'll have a lot more peace in the Middle East than what we've had, which is tyranny and bloodshed and people coming after us and killing us on our own shores.
Why do we have 55,000 troops in Germany?
Well, we've had a lot of problems in the European continent, obviously, with World War I and World War II, and I see our forces there as a force for good. And I think it's a little bit like the way a nuclear reactor works. You take out if you leave the control rods in, you get a nice, cool reaction, and you can run an energy plant. You pull those out, and basically everything melts, and you have yourself a complete radioactive meltdown. I think that a lot of places where our troops are, things have stayed peaceful, and I think a lot of the reason for that is because of our presence.
Well, I certainly disagree. I know you do. Is preemptive war ever justified? What if Iran says we have nuclear weapons and our intelligence says they're about to attack France and maybe us next?
Well, if they're about to attack France, I think that's a concern for France. If they're about to attack us, then that's a concern we have to deal with. We've never had a circumstance like that. Saddam Hussein was not about to attack us. None of these countries that we have troops in post-World War II have been about to attack us. If we knew that there were Iranian missiles and they intended to attack us, and Iran has not shown a tendency towards suicidal foreign policy. And that's what that would be. Whether I want us to respond with a nuclear attack on Iran is going to be completely irrelevant, because I guarantee you whoever the president is will want to, and whoever the leaders of Congress are will want to. So I don't think Iran is going to be that suicidal.
I hope you're right.
When we return, more touchy issues like immigration, gay marriage, abortion. Again, libertarians don't all agree.